ॐ ज्ञानं तिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानञ्जनाशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपा कदा मह्यं ददति स्वापदान्तिकम्। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश श्रीरूपां साग्रजातं सहगण रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवम् साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवम् श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सहगणललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश हे कृष्णा करुणा सिन्धो दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिकान्त राधाकान्त नमोऽस्तुते तप्तकाञ्चन गौराङ्गे राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वंशकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपासिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभो नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्णा हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। Does anyone remember which verse we're on today?
17 Prabhuji.
17. Okay. 17 and 18. Yes, you're the last two left. Thank you. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Vayuranilam Amritam Athedam Bhasmantam Va Vayuranilam Amritam Athedam Bhasmantam Shariram. Om Krato Smara Kritam Smara Krato Smara Kritam Smara Vayur Anilam Amritam Athedam Bhasmantam Shariram. Om Krato Smara Kritam Smara Krato Smara Kritam Smara. So as you can see, the word smara is used many times in this word, in this verse. And the word smara, smaranam, right? It means to remember. So let's see what it is being said here. Let this temporary body be burnt to ashes, and let the air of life, be merged with the totality of air. Now, O my Lord, please remember all my sacrifices, and because you are the ultimate beneficiary, please remember all that I have done for you. So this is actually a prayer similar to the Mukundamala Stotra, but this one is very wonderful. In this one, this Isopanisad, it says things that shock a person, right? Because normally we are always told that we should never feel that we have done anything for Krishna, right? We should always feel that I am incompetent, I have done nothing. And that is the real feeling of a devotee, that everything, I'm just the instrument. Krishna's doing everything. I haven't done anything. Krishna's doing everything. But here, the author is saying, please remember everything that I've done. So this seems counterintuitive to the mood of bhakti. The mood of bhakti is one of not taking credit, of being more humble than a blade of grass. But here it's saying that I'm going to, Krishna, please remember everything I've done for you. So Prabhupada here is explaining the purpose. The prayer has an emphasis of understanding Krishna at the time of death. Srila Prabhupada explains, in this mantra, the living entity prays to enter the spiritual kingdom of God after relinquishing his material body and material air. The devotee prays to the Lord to remember his activities and the sacrifices he has performed before his material body is turned into ashes. He makes this prayer at the time of death, with full consciousness of his past deeds and of the ultimate goal. So Prabhupada here is now bringing a different way to understand this, different mood, different approach, that how this prayer is not in the prayer of Krishna, see all that I've done, Krishna, see how great of a person I am, but rather this is a prayer of desperation, a prayer of humility, that now I'm dying and I don't want to go back in forgetfulness of you into this material world. So Krishna, please remember the things that I've done for you, out of earnestness, so that we can continue our service to Krishna. So in everything, the mood is what matters. It's the mood that makes it different, right? Last time also we were discussing, or the time before that, that the work itself is not the issue. It is the consciousness of the work that is the issue. What is our consciousness? And that consciousness, that is what makes something devotional service. So one can say the same thing. Krishna, look at all the stuff I've done for you. One can say that with pride. And one can say the same thing with earnestness and hopefulness and desperation. That, oh Krishna, please, at the end of my life, please remember everything that I've done for you. See, Prabhupada used to say that Krishna says in chapter 8 that one who remembers me at the time of death comes to me. But Prabhupada said that we should not think, we should not feel that, we should not think that that this prayer is a prayer of that at the end of our life we can just remember Krishna. We should not think in that way, that at the end of our life we can just remember Krishna without any preparation. No, our lifetime is a lifetime of preparation for the final goal. So therefore, this life is a lifetime of preparation. And the devotee is telling Krishna that I have prepared. I prepared for my exam. And even though I'm so incompetent that I will fail the exam, but please somehow pass me, because I tried to prepare for it. And that even not I prepared for it, I tried to prepare for it. Right? So that's the difference of the mood. So he's not saying that I'm qualified. What the devotee is saying is that this is the final exam. I know, not even know, it is a fact that I am failing this exam. I have failed this exam. But please somehow pass me by remembering the efforts that I made. And this is, here we see this image of Haridas Thakur, where Haridas Thakur is, he was a pure devotee of the Lord, chanted 300,000 names a day. And at the end, he's telling Lord Chaitanya that I am actually in a diseased condition. Imagine someone who is chanting 300,000 names of Krishna every day. Look at his humility. He's saying, I am in a disease condition. And what is Lord Chaitanya? Lord Chaitanya, what does he say to him? That how can you be diseased? You are such a great devotee of, you are, he says, I'm unable to complete my prescribed number of rounds. And therefore I'm in a disease condition. And then he says, that because I cannot prepare anymore for this final test, I cannot complete my service anymore, which is my preparation, which is my service for you. Let me go now, because now I'm starting to have difficulty, because he was getting old, he was getting elderly. I'm getting difficulty in completing my service. I can no longer do my service. So what is the purpose of this body? This body is only to serve you. If this body can't serve you anymore, better I give it up. And this is the way the pure devotees actually think, that until they can do their seva, they want to be in the world. But as soon as they see that now my body is not even allowing me to do my seva, then they want to leave. And this is, we saw this in practice, in life of great devotees in our movement, that when they couldn't do their worship anymore, their puja, their mangalarti, then they thought, what is the use now? Now I can't do my service. Now let me go back to Krishna. So they're thinking that this is my preparation. And because I cannot do that anymore, now I want to go. Now, please remember everything that I've done, because now I'm in the good state of consciousness. Now I'm in the right state of consciousness. And so I should go. And this is why I started by mentioning how this prayer is very similar to King Kulashekhar's prayers. Which prayer of King Kulashekar is it similar to? Someone
The
would like
one where he The
Yes.
one where he prays that now when I'm alive and in full health, let me, I think the swan of my mind enters the lotus of your feet or something like that.
Yes,
Because
the
at the time
stem.
of death,
Mm.
there's kapha, vata, pitta, something like that. I mean, that's how
Yes.
I think the shlok goes.
Yes. Yes. Very nicely said, Mataji. Anyone else want to add to that? Yes, King Kulashekar, he says how right now my body is conscious and strong. Let me leave my body now. So that's just the only part I'll add, Mataji, to what he said. He says, let me leave my body now. Because later on, when my throat is choked up with cough, he says, how will I take your name at the end of my life? Right? So this is the connection, why this is so similar, because it's the same prayer. It's the same prayer. It's saying that I've been serving you. So now at least I can think of you. And please take that service into account. King Kulashekar is saying, I can remember you right now. I can glorify you. So let me die now. Why later when it's too late and I'm in a comatose state, or I'm in a state where my voice is choked up, or I'm in great pain and I may not be able to remember you. On this point of death, Prabhupada, he said that one who serves Lord Chaitanya's movement until the end of his life, and particularly he's speaking about book distribution, until the end of one life, one who does that, he says, Lord Chaitanya will forcefully enter your mind at the time of death. So even we're unable to think of him. A car hits us, a truck hits us. One devotee, she died while distributing books because a truck backed into her. She was distributing books, didn't see, and this truck was backing in and crushed her. So something like that happens to us. He says, Lord Chaitanya will forcefully enter into our mind. Right? Even if at the time of death a devotee does not remember his service to the Lord does not forget him. This prayer is given to remind the Lord of the devotee's sacrifices. But even if there is no such reminder, the Lord does not forget the service rendered by his pure devotee. So Prabhupada is so amazing in that prayer, right? He says this, that Lord, He is, this is what Uddhava says, right? Aho bakiyam stanakala kutam. He says that where can one find a more grateful master than Lord Krishna? Where can one find a more grateful master than Lord Krishna? Because even if the devotee does not remember service, here the devotee is praying, please remember. Then why will he pray if the Lord remembers everything only out of desperation? But he remembers so nicely. Prabhupada is saying, don't worry, he remembers that even if we don't remember, he will remember. The Lord, even if there's no such reminder, the Lord does not forget the service rendered by his pure devotee. We may have done a service 30 years ago and no one remembers, but that service has not gone waste, because at the end of our life, Krishna will remember. And that's why when we do some service, we should only do it for Krishna. We should not do it for anyone else. Because the fact is that no one else will remember. Even if we're a very great devotee, once we're gone, we're gone. It's like people forget, unless you're like Prabhupada or Acharya or very great Vaishnava, then people, they continue remembering. But for us, who's going to remember? And when we chant also, we should not chant because others are seeing or others are appreciating, because who will appreciate or see once we are gone? But Krishna will remember. And that's why we only do this service for Krishna. The Lord does not forget the service of his pure devotee. I remember one time, one devotee was really doing the behind the scenes work and doing so much service. and I was feeling bad for that devotee. And then I asked one senior devotee, and they said they appreciated, but then they also said, but don't worry, Krishna is not ungrateful. And Krishna is not ungrateful. So they will get the benefit. And Krishna's abode, they're being recognized. And in that spirit, we can do unalloyed and unlimited service. If we are um, if we are conscious or concerned that who is recognizing my service, then our service will be limited, because we will only get limited appreciation. And if we do too much, then people get envious and jealous, then it's going to be opposite, not appreciation, criticism. So if we are waiting for that, then there's a limitation to what we will do, because the externals will limit us. But if we're serving for Krishna's pleasure, then there's no limit. And when we then serve like that for Krishna's pleasure, then Krishna glorifies us. Such a devotee, Prabhupada says, he writes, their fame is spread everywhere because it's their spiritual fame of their service to Krishna. This mantra's explanation appears in Srimad Bhagavatam. Maharaj Parikshit asked Shukadeva Goswami. So this mantra's explanation, Prabhupada is saying, is in the Bhagavatam. What is the duty of a person at the time of death? And Shukadeva Goswami replied with Srimad Bhagavatam 2.1.5. Everyone who desires to be free from all anxieties should always hear about, glorify, and remember the personality of Godhead, who is the supreme director of everything, the extinguisher of all difficulties, and the supersoul of all living entities. These material bodies are artificial impositions on us. Material nature cleverly gives bodies according to our different desires, but humans are not meant to live like animals. We are meant to get out of the cycle of birth and death and go back to Godhead, where we have eternal forms. An intelligent person sees the oneness which is there among all living beings on the spiritual platform and then surrenders to Krishna. So, um, Krishna is so kind that he gives us all these different types of bodies. And when he gives us the human form of life, he gives us the chance to get out. And um, and if we can utilize this and get out of the cycle of birth and death, then we can get our eternal form. Then there's no change, right? Then there's no. So, but the first thing to do is to understand that we are all spirit soul, and on that level, the intelligent person sees everyone equally. Everyone is the same spirit soul, but the human form is special because one can get out very easily. One can get out in the animal species of life also, but it's very rare. It's an exception. One needs like the association of Lord Chaitanya to have make that happen. But for human beings, it's very easy if we take up the opportunity. The Brahma Jyoti is full of spiritual sparks, some of whom sometimes want to fall down. So to be in Brahma Jyoti is not perfection. That is found in pure devotional service. The impersonalists cannot penetrate the Brahma Jyoti because they don't believe in the personality of the absolute truth. So this verse is also showing the Upanishads are very, you could say, Brahman oriented. But this is showing that the ultimate perfection is bhakti, right? The soul is praying, please remember everything that I've done for you. It's our devotional service that is our benefit. Yes, I was going to make this point. I was trying to remember. Prabhupada says that Lord Chaitanya's movement will spread because Lord Chaitanya has predicted it. So regardless we do anything or we don't, because he has wanted it, it will spread all over the world. It will take over the world. In every town and village, it will be there because this is what he predicted. But Prabhupada said we can engage ourselves in it. We can participate in it. We can participate in it. And then he says, you will get the credit. So even though Krishna is doing everything, but still he says, if you participate in it and you further it, then you will get the credit. Even though it will happen, but you'll get the credit of helping it happen. And that is perfection of life. So we don't think we're the doers because Krishna is going to make it happen and Krishna is the one who's making it happen. But we get the credit for helping, being an instrument in his plan of making it happen. And that is perfection. If we just merge into the absolute truth, then as we discussed a few classes before, those souls, that's not actual liberation. Yeah, I think Vijay, this is your question. Prabhupada here is answering it in this verse. That those souls, they fall down, right? They fall down and therefore it's not perfection at all. It's very boring. It must be so miserable just to be a speck in the sky floating around. So the devotee makes this type of prayer at the time of death. He wants to go back to Godhead. So he wants to remember Krishna. And he wants Krishna to remember him. This is the level of bhava, right? That though Krishna is all powerful, the devotees saying, "Oh, please remember me." Just like Devaki, Mother Devaki, Lord Vishnu is standing there, and baby Krishna is there. She's seeing Lord Vishnu with her eyes, and she's saying, "Krishna, please protect yourself. Please, don't forget to don't forget to use these weapons when Kansa comes." Right? This is just the reciprocation of love. He's within our heart, and the devotee is seeing the Lord within his heart. How could Krishna forget? But they're saying, Krishna, please don't forget. Those who are completely under the rule of material nature, remember their material activities and take material bodies accordingly. Unlike the animals, dying humans can remember their life like a dream. Seeing their life flash before them, Their minds are surcharged with material desires. They then take birth again accordingly. But even if a devotee is not able to remember Krishna, Krishna remembers him. If the devotee, Even if the devotee does not ask Krishna to remember him and what he has done, the Lord does. Our Lord is so merciful. And that's why Krishna is the most grateful master, and he's the best master one can have. This is the conviction of all the devotees. The other nice theme here is that life is like a dream, right? This whole life is like a flash. It's like a dream. We take it so seriously. But it's just a dream. None of it stays. But the only thing that stays is our devotional service to Krishna. The animals cannot remember that this is a dream, but the humans can. And the dream metaphor is the most common metaphor used in the Srimad Bhagavatam to describe our human condition. It uses it over nearly 70 times, that this life is like a swapna, this life is like a dream, it's like a dream, it's like a dream. It's just like a dream. Wake up, don't take it seriously. The Upanishad say, Jagrata, Utishta, get up. Tamasi ma jyotirgamaya. Give up the darkness, come to the light. So material life is like the dream state. It's a whole fantasy. Just like at night, we have a 10-minute dream and we're completely convinced that we're there, right? In that 10 minutes, we're just like completely convinced. There's no doubt. That's why we are shouting and screaming in our bed. Our daydream isn't 10 minutes, it's 100 years. But also we're completely convinced that we are here. But just like the dream world feels real, but it's not actually having to do anything with us. It's a real experience, but it has no tangible existence, no tangible effect on us. In the same way, this life feels so real, but it passes away like a dream. And therefore, a devotee is never too happy when something good happens, nor is a devotee sad when something bad happens, because it's all a dream. It was supposed to vanish anyway. But the only thing the devotee is concerned is that in this dream, let me focus on Krishna, so that he will take me out of the dream. He'll take me in the real world. Just like when we wake up at night from the dream, and let's say in the dream, we lose a lot of money. Let's say in the dream, we were a great prince with white horses, and someone comes and takes it all away from us. When we wake up, we don't cry over it. Have you seen anyone who wake up and like, oh, I lost my bank balance in my dream. I lost $1 million. This guy cheated me. No, we're just like, we wake up and we're like, oh, that was a bad dream. Because we knew anyway it wasn't real. The money that we got wasn't real, and the money that we lost wasn't real. So in the same way, this material life is exactly like that. Not just like it is exactly that. That whatever we gain, we're gaining in the dream. It doesn't stay with us. And whatever we lose, we're losing in a dream. It doesn't stay with us. What stays is our devotional service. And that's what Krishna remembers. And that's what the devotee wants Krishna to remember. That's the actual real benefit that we got in this life, is a service we did for Krishna. Just like there was a very wealthy man who came to the ISKCON Naperville temple, and he's the biggest donor also. He gave $500,000. And in his speech, he said that he asked the other donors, there's like a nice dinner and other wealthy people, his friends there. And he said that the money that you make, do you keep it at the end of when you die? After you die, the money that you have earned after you die, does that stay with you? And he says, no, it doesn't stay with me. And then he says, then what money stays with you? He said, one day I was thinking that all the money that I have won't stay after I die. He's a very old man. And he's a doctor also. So he's very good with human body. He's seen people die and he's seen how death works. And he said, I realized that the money that I give away, that money stays with me forever. And so that's why I decided to make this donation. Because the money that I give away, that will stay with me. The money that I keep doesn't stay with me. because that vanishes at the end of our life. So the money that he gives away, that's his devotional service. So he was absolutely right. It's our devotional service that stays with us. And that's what the verse is saying. Please remember Krishna. There are 9 devotional processes exemplified by 9 devotees. Constant engagement in these 9 processes will keep one in constant contact with the Lord. And in this way, at the end of life, one will remember Krishna. So Prabhupada says that even one process is sufficient to take us back home, back to Godhead. But Prabhupada says that we do all 9 because we can do more than one, because at this stage we are not so advanced. We are not so spiritually advanced where we can keep ourselves engaged all day with only one process. Like Haridas Thakur, he could just chant all day. But since we're not so advanced, we need variety, because our absorption is not so great, our spiritual taste is not so great, so our mind needs, distraction, and we distract it in devotional service. So we chant, we cook for Krishna, we serve Krishna, we offer deity worship. So constant engagement in these 9 processes. That's why 9 are given, because there's so much variety there. One can be constantly engaged, and in this way, at the end of one's life, one will remember Krishna. So we should follow in the footsteps of the acharyas and try to engage in all 9 as much as possible. But the most important, it starts with hearing. And these 9 processes are exemplified by the 9 devotees. Prabhupada mentions that these are the great Mahajans, the saints who we can follow, in whose footsteps. The devotee who exemplifies the process of Shravanam, that's the first of the 9 processes, is Shravanam, hearing, is Maharaj Parikshit. By hearing of the Lord, Maharaj Parikshit, the hero of Srimad Bhagavatam, attained the desired result. 2. Just by glorifying the Lord, Shukadeva Goswami, the speaker of Srimad Bhagavatam, attained his perfection. By praying to the Lord, Akrura attained the desired result. So Shukadeva Goswami, by speaking. So this is the beauty of Krishna consciousness. Both the listener and the speaker both get liberation. By praying to Lord, Akrura attained the desired result. By remembering the Lord, Prahlad Maharaj attained the desired result. One quick thing. When did Akrura, so Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam. So this is, that's what I was thinking. This is a little out of order. Number 4 is remembering. So this one anyway, offering prayers. Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam. Archana, Vandanam. Vandanam actually comes, Vandanam comes very late. So, yes. So when did he offer prayers to the Lord?
When he was taking them from Vrindavan to Mathura.
Yes. So he was actually always offering prayers. That's why he is exemplifying this process. But those prayers are particularly very famous. He offers very beautiful prayers to the Lord. So just by offering prayers, it's so nice. You can recite the prayers of Queen Kunti. It's one of the 9 processes of devotional service. Prabhupada recommends that we can commit these prayers to heart, like the prayers of Queen Kunti, the prayers of Prahlad Maharaj. All of these, we can do that. And then we can continue. By remembering. So Prahlad Maharaj attained perfection by remembering the Supreme Lord. And in his remembrance, he found perfect fearlessness. He became fully fearless just by remembering Krishna. So whenever we are in difficulty, the Bhagavatam says, if the Chaitanya Charitamrita says this, we should just remember the Lord. Who is an example of someone who remembered the Lord and they were removed from all from the fearful situation?
Prahlad Maharaj.
Prahlad Maharaj is described. Who's another person?
Draupadi.
Yes, Draupadi. Draupadi remembered the Lord. Of course, she called out, "Hey Govinda," but by remembering Krishna, her whole fearful situation, Krishna resolved it. So, in every fearful situation, in every problem, we should remember the Lord. And then Krishna resolves it. Krishna will give us the guidance, the intelligence on how.
I guess Gajendra also.
Gajendra also, yes. Very good example. Yes, Gajendra also. Number 5, Archanam. By worshipping the Lord, Prithu Maharaj attained perfection. By worshipping the Lord. Here's Prithu Maharaj. Lavish deity worship, engaging all the citizens in worshipping the Lord. This is the duty of a king because they have such big resources, so much wealth. This is how they glorify the Lord. According to one's means, right? Prabhupada says one should serve the Lord according to one's means. The kings have the most means, and that's why they would serve the Lord. Pada Sevanam, by serving the lotus feet of the Lord, the goddess of fortune, Lakshmi, attained perfection. Number 7, Dasyam. By rendering personal service to the Lord, Hanuman attained the desired result. Dasyam. There's no servant like Lord Hanuman. His only pleasure was in being a servant. And through service, one can attain the desired result. Through his friendship with the Lord, Arjuna attained the desired result. Sakyam, by being a friend. Prabhupada explains, this is such a big topic. We can have a whole session just on these 9. Because this whole topic of friendship is a big discussion. So Arjuna attained perfection by being a friend. But how do we practice being a friend to the Lord? How do we attain perfection by being a friend to the Lord?
Following his instructions.
That is dasyam, that is pada sevanam. So how is this different? That is correct, but how is this different?
By sharing our heart,
By sharing our
having a
heart.
conversation with God.
Okay.
I think God becomes Bhakt Vatsal for Sankyam.
So
Perfection.
yes. Mm.
I feel like because as Arjun, Krishna always told Arjun whenever he had doubt why we need to do that. At that time, Krishna always told that you do what I am telling you. When it was happening in Mahabharata Yuddha. So like not only following but also having a faith in God. That is faith in the as a friend in a God form. It's also very important. Like that trust inside your heart matters more.
Yes. 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 This is very nice. Yes.
And by realizing Paramatma within us and within the people around.
Okay. Okay. By understanding Paramatma in
I
everyone's
think,
heart.
sorry, I think ultimately from the rules and regulations, like from Vaidhi, we need to go to spontaneous devotional service for this to happen.
Yes.
Hare Krishna. Is it like when you are Dasyam, it's like following instructions, but when it's Sakyam, you follow instructions, but you also have the complete conviction that Krishna is always with us in good or bad, and the outcomes, we're not bothered about the outcomes. We're just following it because it pleases Krishna.
Okay. Okay. So it's not just following instructions, but it's having the full conviction and being very close to someone. What you are saying is similar to what Rashmi Mataji also said. Others were also saying that, okay, it's coming from Vaidhi to the spontaneous level. Because when we're a servant, we're serving out of duty. When we're someone's friend, we're spontaneously helping them, right? We do it out of our heart. And that's the mood. So Janya, others, all of you had covered that it's from our heart that we are coming to Krishna and saying, so that is all true. Very nice. Any other thoughts?
Yeah, I would like to add. So, as a friend, God gives you the liberty to question why I'm following, and when that doubt comes in your mind, and when you ask God, you always get answer when you read these shastras.
Mm,
You always get answer whenever you have a doubt.
mm,
It doesn't matter 10 days back, 15 days back, but if you pay attention, you always
mm.
get the answer. So it's not like you are following blindly, but God is also answering your doubts. So it clears what is what question you have. So God is helping like a sakha.
Very nice. Okay. Okay. So he's someone who's a friend. So, like Arjuna, when he had doubts, he would go to Krishna. You are my friend. Please help me. Right. So that intimate relation is there, and friendship and taking refuge, especially when we have doubts. Sita,
Yeah,
do you want to share? Okay. Yes. Go ahead, Prabhu.
reaching the friend, within our heart, which is nothing but the super soul.
Hmm. Okay. Yes. Very nice. Deep in our. Sita, you want to share? Okay.
No, Prabhu.
Okay. And Ranchor Prabhu, would you like to share what does it mean to be a friend to Krishna? There's one other meaning that is there that Prabhupada gives, which we are still missing. Yes. Whoever raised their hand, go ahead.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Yes.
So when we in Sakya Bhav, there is always a conversation going on in between Krishna and and Krishna's friends.
Mm,
And secondly, there is no Bhagwan Sarup in that. It's just a friend. So,
mm,
there is no formality. Like,
mm,
you can share everything to Krishna and Krishna can share everything. You can have prasad from Krishna and
yes.
Krishna, just so merciful, take the other, food from prasad
Yes.
from the friend. So it's
Yes.
like so intimate connection
Mm.
that you just forget that he's Bhagwan. He is ours. So
Coming from sadhana to spontaneous. Very nice. Yes. Uh, Ranchor Prabhu. Now, yes, you're on. Yes.
Hare Krishna, sorry. I just had one clarification, just for like a more practical from a sadhaka level. We
Mhm.
understand there's like nine processes of devotional service,
Mm.
but the last two, in my understanding, are considered raga bhakti. And for
Mhm.
everyone else, generally the main focus for us should be on Shravanam and Kirtanam, especially in our parampara. While we
Mhm.
have everything else, then they're there, but the main focus should still be on like Shravanam and Kirtanam over everything else. Is that correct?
That's a very nice point. We will get to that. Let's. So as soon as we finish this thought, thank you for reminding. We are going to get to that. Yes, thank you. Sucharu Rani Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Uh,
Yes.
Prabhuji, in Bhagavad Gita, till the time Arjun was, treated Krishna as a friend and
Mhm.
he was sharing all his concerns, Krishna
Mhm.
kept quiet. He didn't say anything. But
Mhm.
as soon as in the chapter second and the last of chapter first, when
Mhm.
Arjun said that I completely surrender to you as a disciple,
Mhm.
surrender, he didn't surrender earlier,
Mhm.
but as soon as he surrendered as a disciple and he accepted him as a guru,
Mhm.
Krishna started revealing his knowledge, his
Mhm.
transcendental knowledge to him.
Mhm.
So I think surrender and then what comes the faith.
Mhm. Very nice. Okay. Very nice. Now we have a lot of people, so we'll just go quickly. Please keep just maybe short comments. Pankaj Prabhu.
Yeah, Prabhuji, I was saying in the last class we discussed, right, that in the Gita also it is mentioned that Lord says that I am the Suhridam Sarvabhutanam, that I am the real friend of all the living human beings, right? So
Yes. Yes. Oh, such a nice point. So he himself is saying I is a friend.
yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Very good. Rupal Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. So I was reading chapter 1.
Mm.
So I remember that when when Arjuna says that before the war, when they blow the conch, he tells that take me to the center. I want to observe. So Krishna is called Rishikesha, the control of all the senses. So he knew what what Arjuna is going through. So he was helping him every moment. He knew everything, but he was helping, he was guiding him without Arjuna knowing that he is guiding him. So yeah, I just wanted
Yes.
it.
It's so beautifully said, actually. The way you presented it was so nice. And you read chapter 1 so nicely, actually. Pavitra Lalita Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. So, for a friend, I think, friend is someone with whom we share common experiences. So, for example, Sudama was also a friend of Lord Krishna. They had shared experiences at the Gurukul. And then with Arjuna, I believe they were Samavayaska, so around the same age. So Arjuna, he used to be more jovial with him and joking with Krishna when he was not aware of his real swarup. So later on, Arjuna, when he realized that he is actually the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he apologized and said, "Please forgive me if I have committed any offenses because I thought you were just a friend." And then when Krishna says that, I have revealed this confidential knowledge to you because you were a dear friend. So, I believe it is. So I guess the question is, what does it mean to be a friend? I think where we can be friendly with, I think the same what others have shared, where we can be friendly with him, where we can share our inner feelings with him, and there is less formality.
Yes. Beautifully said. Beautifully said. Thank you. So, as all of you touched upon, many of you touched upon, uh, 8 and 9, being a friend, starting with being a friend to the Lord, it is moving from Vaidhi sadhana to Raganuga sadhana, right? It is more intimate, it is more spontaneous, and it is the devotee is not just feeling that I belong to the Lord, but the devotee feels that the Lord belongs to me as well. Right? And this is one of the characteristics of Bhava Bhakti that is presented there in the Nectar devotion. In addition to this, Prabhupada explains, even on the platform of Vaidhi Sadhana Bhakti, friendship of the Lord can be practiced. And what is that? So many of you mentioned, serving Him, completely following, but all of those are covered. That's in Dasyam or talking to Him. That's Vandanam, right? That's prayers, revealing our heart to Him. But the specific aspect of friendship is when in the mood of at the stage of Vaidhi sadhana is a mood of seeing the Lord, of trying to become the well-wisher of the Lord. So in Vaidhi sadhana, we are practicing friendship by trying to act as Krishna's well-wisher. And when do we act as Krishna's well-wisher? When we are preaching Krishna consciousness. So Prabhupada said that preaching Krishna consciousness is engaging in as a friend to the Lord, because we're looking out for the Lord. It's more than just service, right? We can do what Krishna tells us. Krishna told me to do this, I'm doing this. But when we extend ourselves to convince others about Krishna, because we can't bear seeing them blaspheme Krishna or being forgetful of Krishna, then we are, though Krishna doesn't need our help, but we, out of the minute capacity that we have, are wanting to see the Lord glorified. And that is, Prabhupada said, preaching is acting as a friend to the Lord. Just like if you have a good friend, right? You may do what he says. You may always serve him. You may nice to him. You write him letters. But a real friend is if someone else is saying something bad about that person, you go to them and say, hey, stop saying that. This is my friend. Why are you saying this? Why are you bad mouthing my friend? Right? So in the same way, when we are preaching Krishna consciousness, we're acting as his well-wisher. And we're also acting as his well-wisher because Prabhupada says that this is the one pain that the Lord has, which is he's missing the souls who are not with him, right? Who have forgotten him. They're lost in this material world. And by removing that pain, we're acting as a friend to him. That is acting as a friend. So this is the special quality or the special blessing of preaching Krishna consciousness. And the last one is to do all 9, to fully engage the mind and senses by surrendering everything one has to the Lord. Sharanagati. Ramanujacharya spoke about this a lot. Full surrender, mind, body, words. It's not just that my words are being engaged. It's not just that my hands are being engaged. Everything that I have, everything that I do, everything that I own, every resource that I have, Krishna, it is all yours. That is Atmanivedanam. And the example of this is Bali Maharaj, who gave everything in a moment's time. He had everything. He earned it. He fought for it. But when the Lord came and said, you give it all to me, he offered his obeisances. And he said, you put the 3rd step on my head. And he gave it all to Krishna. That is Atmanivedanam. Only someone who has spontaneous love for Krishna can act on this level, can be on the stage. So now to Ranchor Prabhu's question. What's interesting about these 9 processes, and they go in order: Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, Pada Sevanam, Archanam, Vandanam, Dasyam, Sakyam, Atmanivedanam, that each successive process includes the previous one. And I'm going to tell this in really short because we don't have the time, but it starts with Shravanam, hearing, right? The second one is chanting. Now, when we're chanting, and we do japa every morning, we have this first hand experience. When we chant, we know when we're attentive and when we're not. And Prabhupada explains what is attentive chanting. The only way you can do attentive chanting, and the only thing necessary for attentive chanting, is hearing. If you hear the name when you chant, you will be completely attentive. The moment you stop hearing, you will not be attentive. So, in order to chant, one must hear. One cannot chant without hearing. Of course, we know that one can only repeat when one has heard also, right? One first has to hear and then one speaks. So that's one meaning of it. But there's the second meaning is also that you actually cannot even chant Krishna's name unless you're hearing it. So chanting includes hearing. Shravanam Kirtanam Vishnu Smaranam. Remembering requires chanting and hearing and chanting. Vishnu Smaranam Pada Sevanam. Serving Krishna's lotus feet requires hearing, chanting, and remembering. That's why Krishna tells Arjuna, Mam Anusmara Yudhyacha, remember me and then fight. Remember me as you fight. So Prabhupada describes any service that we do, we're cooking for Krishna, it should be accompanied by hearing and chanting. So we are cooking for Krishna, but put a tape on. We're cooking for Krishna, sing Hare Krishna while you cook. Because service includes remembering, and remembering includes hearing and chanting. Then Archanam, when we're worshiping the deity, we can only do that when we are doing the previous 4. That's why the process of deity worship also requires and involves hearing and chanting. We first chant our round, then we go on the altar. While we're on the altar, we're hearing kirtan. When we're serving the deity, we're chanting mantras. So Archanam, then Vandanam, offering prayers. We can pray to the Lord when all of these other things are there, because only then does the heart open up to the Lord when we are actually serving him. And then Dasyam means being a servant. In order to be a servant, all the previous things need to be there: hearing, chanting, remembering, worshiping, trying to serve the lotus feet. And then Sakyam includes, so meaning that, and then Atmanivedanam includes all of them, right? So meaning that there is no process in the 9 process without hearing and chanting. So it's not just that it's number 1, but actually to do any process, it has to involve those. And that's why hearing and chanting is most foundational. It's the core basis of all of our devotional practices. But it doesn't stop there, right? One devotee was just chanting, and then he wouldn't serve. So the devotees came to Prabhupada and said, he is chanting, but he doesn't help in the service. He doesn't do any devotional service. Prabhupada, what should we say to him? What should we do? And he said that through his chanting, one day he will start serving. By chanting, he will one day start serving. So if we're chanting nicely, naturally the desire to serve will come. And chanting itself is service, but it doesn't end there. One can do other services for Krishna as well. And the gopis of Vrindavan are doing so many services for the churning butter. So one wants to serve Krishna. That's the prayer of the mantra, let me serve you, Krishna. And the last mantra, mantra 18. Let's do this, and then we can have discussion after, because this is a short mantra. There's just, 6 or 7 slides, so we'll be done in probably 15-20 minutes. Agnenaya supataraya asman vishvani deva vayunani vidvan yuyodhyasmaj juhuranam eno bhuyishtam te nama uktim vidhema. O my Lord, as powerful as fire, O omnipotent one, now I offer you all obeisances, falling on the ground at your feet. O my Lord, please lead me on the right path to reach you. And since you know all that I've done in the past, please free me from the reactions to my past sins, so that there will be no hindrance in my progress. See, this is the mood. Please do all this so there's no hindrance in my progress. Please remove the obstacles on the path to reaching you, to serving you, to becoming your servant. So Prabhupada said, the devotee does not pray for anything. The devotee does not ask for anything. But the devotee prays for one thing, and that is service. The devotee asks the Lord only one question: how can I serve you? How can I be of service? And that is what this prayer is doing. Prayer for the Lord to guide us on the path to reach Him. There's so many paths, and we get misled so often, even within ISKCON, even amongst the devotees. There are some devotees who mislead other devotees, some devotees who have different philosophies, different ideas, or they are diverging in certain ways. So we are asking that you please reveal what is the path to you. Even a very great soul, apparently, we don't know, because we are not pure devotees. We don't know are they a pure devotee or not. So who will tell us, who will guide us to that pure devotee? We're praying to Krishna. You show us that path. In mantra 18, the devotee prays for guidance on the spiritual path and the removal of past sinful reactions which may hinder his progress. One becomes perfect by thus surrendering unto the Lord, who at once takes charge of such a devotee. Gradually, such a devotee develops all the qualities of a saintly person, such as truthfulness, sense control, tolerance, simplicity, and faith in God. This is a fact, right? When devotees, you say, oh, these devotees, they don't have these qualities. But when a devotee really deeply becomes a devotee, all the other qualities become manifest. And we see that. We can experience that also. When we go very deep and we want to really become a serious devotee, we really serve a lot. Only way we can continue is to develop these qualities. So Krishna brings these qualities within that devotee. The Lord thus guides the devotee on the path of righteousness and spiritual progress. He guides externally as the scriptures, saints, and spiritual master, and internally from within the heart. As one follows this path of the Lord, one becomes a pure devotee. Mantra 18 is the concluding prayer of the devotee who desires to achieve Krishna's mercy. The speaker humbly throws himself at the lotus feet of the Lord and begs for guidance and for help to become free from his karma. So when we surrender to Krishna, all the karma goes away. But a devotee still always feels that I'm so sinful, there must be so much karma that's there. He feels this way. And also, we were just reading recently somewhere that it said that also the karma, Krishna reduces it. But we still, go through our karma. Karma is very deep. It's a way of teaching, you see. So Krishna, we don't suffer because of the karma. Krishna burns it for a devotee who surrenders, but still we go through it. Not because of the reaction, but because Krishna teaches us through that. So a devotee must pray for that. We should never be overconfident that now I'm a devotee, whatever wrong I did, Krishna just, gave me a free pass. No, we will suffer for it. But he will reduce it, and he will give it in such a way that we grow from it. No one escapes the laws of God. As a devotee, we'd wrong someone. Krishna's not just going to give us a free pass. Why should he? We see that story in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, which is Patanayak. I'm forgetting the first part of his name. And he is a devotee, a close associate of Lord Chaitanya. But he becomes greedy and he starts to cheat on his taxes and he starts to cheat the king. And then the king finds out and he says he's going to be thrown on swords. They have this thing that when they get the death penalty, they had these daggers like this and they would throw the person on these daggers and that person would get ripped apart to death. And at that time, he sends a message to Lord Chaitanya. And he says, please, through a devotee, he sends a message, please request Lord Chaitanya to do something. He's the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Ask him to save me from this. I am his devotee. Ask him to just, free me from this punishment I'm about to get. So the devotee comes running to Lord Chaitanya and tells the story of how all this happened. And Lord Chaitanya says, this devotee of mine, he gets some money and then he wants to use it for his own sense enjoyment. He's also using it for, just, he wasn't paying taxes, but then using it for his own happiness, luxury, all these things. And sinful things also. And Lord Chaitanya says, why should I save him? When he is behaving like this, he deserves. Why is he stealing the money of the king? And then he says the king is a representative of God. Everyone has to pay their tax. Why is he not paying his taxes? And then the devotees lose hope. But then at the very last moment, Lord Chaitanya arranges something that he isn't thrown on those daggers and his life is saved. But Lord Chaitanya's first response is, why should I save him? He's taking advantage of being a devotee. And that's the seventh offense, right? To sin on the strength of the holy name. So Krishna removes our sins. But Krishna doesn't give us a free pass that now if we're a devotee, we can do anything and we won't get the karma. So as devotees, when we do something wrong, we do get it because of the seventh offense. So the devotee here is begging the Lord, please, now at the end of life, remove this karma. Help me become purified. Help me, don't let this, because part of the karmic reaction is that it stops our bhakti. It can. So if we do something bad, the reaction partly could be that it becomes, something happens in our life which becomes an obstacle. It doesn't become an obstacle in an absolute sense, but an obstacle in a temporary sense. Like, let's say if I do something very bad, then Krishna may give me a disease. If I get the disease, then that will hinder the ease of my chanting of 16 rounds every day. So I can still chant because ultimately it's the soul, it's my determination. But the karmic reaction can stop the progress for me on my level, right? So in the same way, the devotee is saying that, please remove the karma that is being an obstacle in my reaching you. And that's why karma is important here. That's why he's even speaking about karma. If one falls from the path of yoga, one will get the opportunity in one's next life. Through surrender, one is elevated to the spiritual platform quickly, And the Lord gives all help which is not available to others. To err is human, but Lord Krishna helps the sincere devotees, even if they make mistakes, and he corrects them, either through sadhu, shastra, and guru, or directly from within the heart. One has to learn all this under good direction. If one gets the direction of a good spiritual master, it is to be understood that he has the mercy of the Lord. It's a matter of fortune to have a good spiritual master. It's a matter of fortune to have good direction. And when we disregard that, then that is a great reaction. The Lord actually appears to the conditioned soul as the spiritual master. Thus, he reaches perfection. So spiritual masters are also of different levels, in different stages. And if we receive direction from an advanced spiritual master, it's because Krishna saw some sincerity in us, so he sent a pure devotee. And Prabhupada said, and we are all fortunate because we are all getting direction from, without doubt, pure devotee, Srila Prabhupada. And then also our immediate direction, but at least at our very basis, we're getting that. And Prabhupada said that one of his disciples was turning away from him and joining another Gaudiya Vaishnav sect and was disregarding Prabhupada. He was a disciple of Prabhupada. He says, no, Prabhupada doesn't know everything, and I'm going to go to this Gaudiya Math. And Prabhupada said that he will not get the chance again to have a bona fide spiritual master for another 300 lifetimes. If he does this, if he doesn't come back in this and realize his mistake for another 300 lifetimes, he will not get the chance. That's why it's so, because when Krishna sends a pure devotee, he's sending us his greatest gift. And if we just disregard it, again, Krishna doesn't give us a free pass. He says, I gave you everything and you disregarded. So now try to enjoy the material world. And all the devotees, it became very, clear. And of course, the Lord and the devotee are so merciful that though that is the thing, Prabhupada will come back in his next life and will help in that devotee's next life and will help that devotee come back. So it may not be 300 lifetimes, but it will be some time. So we should never disregard the good instruction that we receive, the good guidance, the good help. It's our fortune when we come in the contact of a devotee who's willing to help us make progress in spiritual life. The burden of sins is eradicated by the bhakti devotional service. We realize not only our separate existence from the body, but our activities and emotions as an individual soul. We become untouched by material miseries. The Lord personally protects and maintains us. He personally helps us progress, even if we fall from the path. Wow, a lot of benefits from bhakti, isn't it? So there's 6 symptoms of surrender. And that is here the last thing that Prabhupada talks about in this purport, because this last 2 verses, as you can see, from philosophy, it is turned into bhakti. From philosophy, it's now turned into devotion. The author is speaking like a devotee and is saying, please help me. So these are the 6 symptoms of surrender. The devotee is wanting to surrender. The devotee is wanting to surrender. And how do we do that? There's 6 things that one has to do. 1, pratikulyasya sankalpa, accepting things favorable for discharging devotional service. We must accept that which is favorable. 2, reject things unfavorable. TV is bad for me. Let's throw it out. The moment you do it, you'll feel happy. It's unfavorable. 3, always believe firmly in the Lord's protection. Having faith that the Lord will protect me. If I'm a nice devotee, the Lord will protect me. 4, feel exclusively dependent on the mercy of the Lord. 5, have no interest separate from the interest of the Lord. See, a oneness of interest. And how do we practice this? Have no interest separate from the interest of the Lord? When we have no interest separate from Prabhupada's interest, from no interest separate from the interest of the society that he's developed, ISKCON. No interest separate from the Krishna consciousness movement that Lord Chaitanya wants to spread. So we're not trying to do our own thing, we're trying to spread Krishna consciousness. Even if we're doing it in our own way, but we're trying to spread Krishna consciousness. Draupadi felt exclusively dependent. When she felt exclusively dependent, then Krishna came. When she was depending on other things, then Krishna didn't come. Number 5, have no interest separate from the interest of the Lord. And 6, always feel oneself meek and humble. One cannot surrender if one feels one is a very great man and knows everything. One can only surrender when one feels oneself meek and humble. And then, so this is the 6 symptoms of surrender. It's very nice to remember these things. This is how we surrender to Krishna. And we talked about Shravanam Kirtanam, right? The 9 activities of devotional service. And now we talk about the 9 stages of devotional service, which we talked about in the Nectar devotion. So you can see everything is being summarized here. 9, 6, 9. So we'll just quickly run through this. We've done it, and some of you will be doing it. Those who join now will be doing it in the next. So Shraddha. So these are the different steps, like a ladder of surrender. How we get to surrender is through the process of bhakti, which is this is it. The first is faith, Shraddha. Sadhu Sangha, association with devotees. Bhajana Kriya, engaging in the process, hearing, chanting. Anartha Nivritti, the anarthas, the unwanted things are being removed from the heart. Nishtha means firm conviction upon the Lord. So once the unwanted things are removed, then we are nishtha, firmly convinced. Ruchi, we have taste. Asakti, we have intense taste. Bhava, we have spontaneous taste. Intensified. And then prema, pure love of God. These are the 9 stages of pure devotional service, of devotional service leading to pure devotional service. From regulated to spontaneous to pure love. And what is the effect of this process, of doing this process of bhakti? Prabhupada says, hearing and chanting the glories of the Lord is itself an act of piety. Back to Ranchor Prabhu's point. That by itself is an act of piety. Tavakatham ritam tapta jivanam. It is virtuous in of themselves. Shrinutam svakatha Krishna punya shavana kirtana. Shrinvakatam, by hearing the katha of Krishna, that is punya, that is piety, the highest piety. The Lord wants everyone to hear and chant His glories because He is the well-wisher of all living entities. By hearing and chanting the glories of the Lord, one becomes cleansed of all undesirable things. And then one's devotion becomes fixed upon the Lord. At this stage, the devotee acquires the Brahminical qualifications, and the effects of the lower modes of nature, passion and ignorance, completely vanish. The devotee becomes fully enlightened by virtue of his devotional service. The devotee becomes fully enlightened by virtue of his devotional service. And thus he comes to know the path of the Lord and the way to attain Him. As all doubts diminish, he becomes a pure devotee. So we sometimes in the beginning wonder, like, when will these doubts go away? Even like 10, 15 years into Krishna consciousness, we get like these doubts. But then after that, we're just like, no, I mean, there's no question of doubts. The conviction just becomes deeper and deeper. So here the summary of mantras 15 to 18, the final group of verses that we did. The speaker feelingly appeals to the Lord to remove his dazzling bodily effulgence, not his body, his dazzling bodily effulgence, and reveal his personal form. The time of death is approaching, and the devotee acknowledges that he is far from perfect, but prays that the Lord be merciful to him, and, overlooking his shortcomings, accept him as his eternal servant and give him shelter at his lotus feet. Okay. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Yeah.
All right, so we have a few minutes for questions, comments. Rancher Prabhu, please, yes.
Hare Krishna. Thank you for the explanation of the sins being released. I've always had this question. I think you touched on it, but I just like further more direct clarification. So our understanding is that sins are bad for two reasons. Number one, obviously, because they produce sinful reaction, but number two, because they produce sinful inclination. And so by committing sins, our anarthas become stronger because we are, reveling in those negative tendencies. So then when Krishna says, I'll remove the sins, or when the devotee in this, when the author of this prayer, the 19th prayer asks, like, please remove the sins on my path, is he referring to please remove the sinful reactions or please remove the sinful tendencies? And then also when Krishna says, when we said that, okay, Krishna minimizes the reactions and we have to suffer something, do we just have to suffer the sinful reactions, or we also have some responsibility to take care of the sinful tendencies we've gotten from those sins?
So like you said, actually, I think you were getting to the answer yourself, that the sinful tendency and the sinful reactions are both the sinful reaction, right? So it's a sinful reaction that takes two forms. One is the pain. Let's say the reaction brings some pain. And the other is a tendency to do that sinful activity. Again, like Prabhupada says, if one goes to a nightclub, there'll be a sinful reaction to that. Maybe he'll get mugged. But then the bigger sinful reaction is you want to go again. I saw someone there. Oh, look at the dancing, this, that, right? Like a jamil. The desire increases. And then you go again, then you engage in it more. There's even more sinful reaction. Like this, it's a spiral until we hit rock bottom, and then we say, I'm out, and then Krishna saves us, right? So he does that to purify us, because otherwise the tendency, the desire doesn't get out from deep within the heart. So here what's being asked is, please free me from the sinful, the sins, that is, by sins we mean sinful reactions. Deep within the heart, remove them. Because the karmic reaction, to your point, the karmic reaction of the sinful reaction, that is by even punya one gets that rid of. And the Bhagavatam says how getting rid of that is useless, because one goes and does it again. So Krishna may commute our sentence in jail, but he will not remove the sinful desire. Then what is the use? We'll do it again, go to jail again, right? So what is being asked is take out that sinful desire, take out that sinful proclivity, because that sinful proclivity becomes an obstacle on our path of devotion. It can. Just like a wonderful example of this is that you see some devotees who join Krishna consciousness and they come from very simple, pure, pious backgrounds, right? They were maybe a village boy and they met Prabhupada when they were 20 years old, or they met devotees at that age. And then they're brahmacharis, and then like 5 years later, they take sannyas. So they never experience the whole, New York City, Times Square, they never experience all of that. And because they have the good fortune of not having those experiences and the sinful reactions and all those things, they can advance so quickly. Other devotees may be even more advanced, but because they had, all this, that's why brahmachari life is harder in the West, right? Because they had all this impressions of billboards and this over the years. They have harder work to do to get to that. So it is a sinful proclivity that the devotee wants Krishna just, toss it out. Because once we have those, due to our sinful activity, it's very hard to get rid of them. And that's what Prabhupada used to say, if you can just avoid it altogether and be brahmachari, don't get into married life. Why? Even though people progress through marriage life also, because then we have less impressions on the heart to clean out. Attractions, impressions, attachments. It's much, much easier, right? On the other hand, if we are deeply desiring some material pleasure, then the process of varnashram, grihastha, all those things allows us to gradually purify the heart. So it's just how much can we get rid of those proclivities? And wherever we're at, accordingly, we take the process. But at the end of life, there's no time left. So here the devotee is saying, Krishna, now you've got to do it. You just take your shovel and take it all out.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Thank you. Yes, very nice. Okay, Vijay Nrsimha Prabhu.
Thank you, Prabhu, for this wonderful series. I had two questions. First one was the last two mantras touch on trying to remind Krishna or trying to remind him or telling him to remember what I've done for you. If he never forgets and he, remembers anyways, even if we forget, why do we have to remind him?
Yes, and that's we were saying that is the sentiment, right? Like emotions go beyond logic. So the devotees may know Krishna is all powerful, yet they pray to Krishna that please protect me. Or Mother Devaki says she's seeing Lord Vishnu there with his discus, Sudarshan Chakra, and she's saying, Krishna, please protect yourself. Why? Because it's a feeling. What one knows, but one is so desperate, one still asks, that Krishna, please protect me. It's like, let's say you have 100% conviction. And of course, in the material, we never do. But let's say you had 100% conviction that this roller coaster ride is not going to kill me, right? But when you're on that ride, you're going to scream. You're like, God, please save me. Why? Because it's the emotion in the heart. One is so earnestly desperate. So it's the same thing that when we intellectualize it, we know Krishna is doing it, so we don't need to ask. But at that time, one is dying. Death is the most painful experience one can have. The second most painful experience I've heard is a heart attack. But you're a doctor, you can tell us what it is. But death is the most painful experience. So the devotee is about to go or is going through the most painful experience in their life. And then they're calling out to Krishna.
So it's just human sentiment that it's touching on.
Also devotional sentiment, right? Is also devotional sentiment. Though Krishna knows, I will still ask. So a nice example of this is Arjuna was doing austerities and he pleases Lord Shiva. Lord Shiva comes and he says, I will give you your heart's desire. And then he tells Arjuna that I know your heart's desire, but you still ask. Right? Because that's the mood reciprocation of the devotee and the Lord. Krishna knows everything, he's doing everything, but the devotee, out of their love for him, still wants to ask.
Okay, that makes sense. Second one is a quick question. What is the difference between Pada Sevanam and Dasyam?
Yes. So, Pada Sevanam, the example of that is Lakshmi Devi, right? And Dasyam, the example is Hanumanji. So Pada Sevanam is more personal service to the form of the Lord, right? It's like it's more intimate and focused service of service to the Pada, to the lotus feet of the Lord. So devotee offers prayers to the feet of the Lord. The devotee sees the feet of the Lord first. The devotee worships the feet of the Lord. The devotee keeps those feet in his heart. Dasya means whatever Krishna wants, I'll do for you. It's being a servant. So Lakshmi Devi is massaging Krishna's feet. A personal servant of a devotee, is serving the devotee by massaging their feet, washing their clothes. So Pada Sevanam is more, menial service. Cleaning the temple floors can be called Pada Sevanam, because this is where the feet of the devotees walk. So it's the feet, it's the submission and the service to the Lord as a person. to his form, personal physical service. Dasyam is Krishna told me to go to China, Prabhupada told me I'll go to China. So it's a slightly different mood. It's not really different that much, but it's a different mode or mood of service. Just like Archanam is also Dasyam, right? Archanam is Pujari is also being a servant to the Lord, but he's doing it through Arti, through all of these decorations and things. So it's just a different mode. Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Prabhu. Yes. Okay. And next we have Yashoda Vatsala, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you so much. One
Thank
more
you.
great class, and yeah, we completed the
Yes.
Isopanisad today. So on the same line of what Prabhuji asked, is honoring the Charanamrut of the Lord is also Padasevanam?
Yes. That can also be Archanam.
Archana?
Yeah, it can also be Archanam because it's part of Archanam. But if we're thinking that this is this is water that's been washing the feet of the Lord, it is also Padasevanam. Yes.
Yeah. And coming to my question, Prabhuji, you mentioned that the word that this is dream, this life is dream. 70 times you said it has come in Srimad Bhagavatam.
Yes.
So I'm little confused with the point that it is said like, Brahma Satya Jagat Mithya. So we many times Srila Prabhupada cuts that particular point.
Yes.
That no, this is still
Real.
real.
Yes.
So
Yes.
how can we understand
Yes.
this? Yeah, thank you, Prabhu.
Very nice. So Ramanujacharya, he says that how can you experience the dream? How is it that you're shouting and screaming if the dream is not real? So the thing is that both Shankaracharya and the Vaishnavacharyas use the same analogies because those analogies are found in the Upanishads and the Bhagavatam. But the difference is how they interpret it. Both agree that life is a dream. But Shankaracharya is saying something illogical. He's saying the dream is mithya. But then our acharyas are saying if it's mithya, then how are you in a dream? If it's completely false, then how are you in a dream? Then you must be awake. It is real, that's why you're in a dream. But like Prabhupada said, it is the Maya means that which is not. It is the misunderstanding that is the dream. You are thinking that you are awake when you're actually dreaming. You are thinking that the dream world is eternal when it's temporary. It's a passing dream. So it is real, but because it is temporary, in that sense, it is unreal. Right? So we also use the word mithya, and we also use it sometimes in the sense of this material world, but we use it in the sense that because it is temporary, it has no factual existence, and in that way, it's unreal. But it's not ontologically unreal. It does have existence because only something that has existence can be an object of experience. Something that does not exist cannot be experienced. The fact that we are experiencing the dream means it has existence. But relative to the eternal realities, it has less existence. Relative to eternality, it is mithya, it is false. So it's different between something not true versus something not even existing. We're saying it's not true, but we're not saying that it's not actually existing. But it really doesn't exist in the sense that it's not eternal, right? So if something you see for one flash of a second, it's as good as not seeing it, right? It doesn't exist. If you saw it for a flash, you never saw it again. So that's why it's unreal in that sense.
So taking as an example of like, someone sees a tiger in front of him in the dream, and
Yes.
he gets, you know, he gets very fearful, and he becomes very fearful and gets shivering and even, sweating and all. And you will see that the person, as soon as he wakes up, he is having all sweat on his body.
Yes.
So that is like real, but what's temporary, although it was even in the dream, it was kind of. Is that, do I have to take that way, Prabhuji?
So that's a wonderful example. We see a tiger in a movie, and if the same tiger walks into our living room, right, the response will be different, right? Because one is real, it's an object of experience, but it's not actually there. The other one is actually there because it's more tangible, it's real. But the other one is also there. That's why you're seeing a tiger and you're not seeing a rhinoceros. If it's not completely there, then it would be as good as seeing a rat. You'd be like, I just saw a rat. But no, you saw a tiger in the movie. So in the same way, the material exists, but it has a lesser reality because it's temporary. And so it's false in that sense. It's when we say in the movie, oh, that's not, the baby's crying, and then the mother tells the baby, no, that's not the real tiger. That there's no tiger there, right? She'll say, there's no tiger there. She'll tell her 5-year-old son, there's no tiger there. Is her statement true? Yes, it's true because there's no tiger there. There's no actual tiger there. But the baby's crying because there is a picture of a tiger there. So that's how the scriptures are speaking. They're saying, look, there's no reality here. Yes, there's no reality here because factually this vanishes. This is not the real thing. It vanishes. But at the same time, if you say it is mithya, then you're saying a false statement because it's not completely not there. And therefore, we say that this world is a reflection. It's a lesser reality, but we don't say it's false.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Really helpful.
Yes, it's a nice discussion. Thank you. Okay, and Rupal Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
I wanted to go over that mantra 18, which mentioned that devotee is asking for mercy from Krishna to remove his karma so that he don't have hindrance in the bhakti. But I understand that Krishna knows and the devotee also knows very well that one has to face the consequences of the karma. So so I don't understand how bhakti can remove your karma you did yourself.
So that is grace. You see, that's why we have two things in our process. One is works and the other is grace. Based on our works, we have to suffer the results of our karma. But due to the Lord's grace, that's like the president excusing people, right? What is it? The word not excusing, it's called
Pardon.
pardoning, yes. The presidential pardon, which has become very infamous now, but it used to be something very nice. The president can, pardon, and because of they out of their grace, someone has really redeemed themselves, someone has really changed, someone has done something wonderful for the country, even though they did something wrong, but now they've done something wonderful. So then there's a pardon there. Right? So that's the presidential pardon. That's the path of bhakti. You're begging Krishna, please pardon me. So he can do that. He has the power to do it. But he won't just do that if we take advantage of it. That's the point.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Thank you. Srinivas Pundarik, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Dandavad Pranams. Very nice class again.
Thank you.
I just want to, so there was a few things, I just, remember when you talked about the service, regarding the purport or further explanation by Srila Prabhupada on the second chapter, Swalpam Abhyasa Dharmasya. And Prabhupada's there mentions that even if you do the service, with intention or without intention, Krishna considers that as a service. Examples, right? Putana came to kill Krishna, but she gave him a milk. So Krishna considered as a service. So that's the reason, he gave her a salvation. And when she was cut into pieces, there was a smell of aguru all over. That's one of the point that I remember regarding the service, whether we do it intentional or not intention, but Krishna considered that as a service. And another point regarding the logic, sometimes the devotees do not exhibit.
So just one point on this. Yeah, Prabhu, before you go to the second one, I just thought I'll comment on this one. One point on this. The acharyas describe that the reason why her giving Krishna poisonous milk was accepted as a service was because Putana, in her last life, being I think the daughter of Bali Maharaj, was actually feeling some as Putana as Putana, and this is her history, but she was feeling some motherly affection towards Krishna. Even while putting that poison there, she was, and Krishna accepted that. So the demons do service by fighting with Krishna, so that's why they get liberation. Putana, it's not that if someone is being nasty towards Krishna, that automatically, no matter what you do, it's a service. Someone comes and kills devotees, it's a service. Someone, and she had done such horrible things. So with Krishna, the reason why he accepted, because he accepted, she was deep down, she was a devotee, but then she felt anger towards Krishna as the daughter of Bali Maharaj, and that's why she came back as a demoness, because she was a devotee, but she also had anger towards Krishna. And through this Putana pastime, he was able to purify that anger that she had. In the form of Putana, she was able to purify it by doing both things, and then Krishna crushing that anger that she had. But what he accepted was her devotion, the feeling of love that she had when she saw Krishna. And the poison part, he didn't take seriously. And that's his mercy. Yes.
Oh, that's a very good point, Prabhuji. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Prabhu, 1 second. If you can just hold 1 second, someone. Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Please go ahead. I'm so sorry.
Oh, no problem, Prabhuji. The other thing that I just want to highlight is that, you mentioned about sometimes the devotees, does something that may not have some logic. Now, in the Sri Sampradaya, there was a topmost Arvar called as Periyarvar, who is also the father of Sri Gotha or Sri Andal. Where he is called as the topmost Arvar because, when he established the supremacy of Sriman Narayana in the court of King Pandya, he was taken in a procession on the top of an elephant. And then at the time, the Lord wanted to see, his devotee being glorified, and he came in the Garuda along with Mahalakshmi. At that time, on seeing the Lord with his concert and Garuda, he gets, overwhelmingly compassionate about the Lord because he's like a Sukumara, he's coming into the samsara. And what will happen to him? The evil eyes will fall on him. Then he will start reciting, composing a song called as Palland. That means, long live the Lord. Let the long live for, several thousand years, along with Mahalakshmi, along with long live Sudarshan Chakra, and long live Shankar. And the acharyas explained because of his bhava, right? When all other arvas and when the senior devotees, right, acharyas, many people, they want protection from the Lord, but he wants to give protection to the Lord and sing for his protection, and that's why he's called as a topmost arvar, like in South, like Peri arvar.
Yes. Wow. Yes. So this is a good example of friendship. Yes. Long live the Lord. He's thinking Krishna should live for thousands of years. Yes. Yes. Thank you for that. So thank you, everyone. We will have I will send you the exam whenever you're ready. So when you're ready, please send me a message with your proctor's email, or fill out that table that Rashmi Mataji has provided, and I will send it to your proctor. And I will also be sending you a short study guide for the exam. I'll do that immediately after this. I'll send you the study guide for the exam. And we'll meet maybe, oh yeah, we have to decide. So it's October 11th. We can maybe, yeah, I think we could start November 8th, the next group, because I see the first is also there. I was thinking after Karthik would be nice. It gives 3 weeks. Also, Karthik is there. It gives you that much time to complete the exam, and then for me to grade it, and then we start on the 8th. So let's plan on that. November 8th, we will start the next book, which is Bhagavad Gita. And for those of you that it's your last book, congratulations. You'll get your Bhakti Shastri degree. And the next book is the Gita. Yes. Thank you.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you,
Dandavat
Prabhuji.
pranam.
Hare
Jai
Krishna.
Srila
Dandavat
Thank you,
pranam, Prabhuji.
Prabhuji.
All glories to Srila
Thank
Prabhupada.
you,
Hare
Prabhu. Hare
Krishna.
Krishna.
Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.